There no slaves doing that. Only Moors.
Indeed.
Right? And again, the whole concept of teaching the Europeans, and it was a transfer of power, because we already knew that we were going to fall out of power because we are navigators of the celestial seas. So it's not a secret that we were going to fall out of power, and the only people that we could put it in the hands who, isn't really going to go crazy with it, who have their quote-unquote 33 degrees. They're not going to go past that. If they go past that, it's only on the strength of they studied for themselves because they belong, whatever.
Islam. Brother Ramiel, do you want to bring up the other clip? Expound a little bit before you play it for me.
Well, that clip may be too long to bring up because, I mean, he's going through, I can bring it up though, but I forgot the Albion's name. I forgot. However, what he's doing is he's attempting to, and it was actually I seen it because Ranchu Kudrow put it up, and he's going through attempting to break down and discredit everything that the Emir, says in one particular lecture. And so what his attempt is to bring up legalese that discredit the law that is being spoken. And so he goes into, speaking about what he say about citizenship, that if you're not born, when he's talking about Taj, speaking about being a U.S. citizen, I think he goes into saying, oh, if you were born somewhere, you're a citizen or something, some of those natures. So I can bring it up if you want, and we can look at that thing.
You wanna at least play the first 2 minutes, just so that they can.
Yeah. What do you remember the Albion's his name, Cujo?
It's called debunking.
That's it.
Something like that.
Yeah, I didn't get an appellate, a nom de guerre from him or anything. I just know it started like with a D, like DJ. I think the D is in there. I don't know. He doesn't show his face. He's just kind of just speaking. Oh, there you go.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
I got you. Let's see.
Okay, so I got a request to do a video on Taj Bey. And what I've decided to do, just to make it easier on me, is I'm going to make a series of videos about 10 minutes long. I'm going to start with what is law and what is not law. It's one of his older videos. It was first uploaded to YouTube, as far as I can tell, in 2007, maybe older than that. I'm going to go through the video discussing the various claims that he makes, and I'm going to cut it off at 10 minutes and continue on at the next part of the series. And I'll put it up in a little playlist so people can watch it that way. Okay, so let's get started.
Now, pardon me, all civilization operates on contract. There's no such thing as civilization operating without contract. Contract is an agreement, a treaty, constitution, verbal, oral, however. They're covenants. They're all forms of contract.
Okay, so Taj shows his hand fairly quickly in this video. And by the way, a really quick shout out to Canaanland Wars, who I believe are going to be watching this video, or at least I hope they watch it, because I'm going to be explaining why Taj Bey is a sovereign citizen. Right there, Taj has just referred to the sovereign citizen theory, that everything is a contract. This is discussed at length in the Meads v. Meads decision from Alberta, Canada, which deconstructs the sovereign citizen movement. And I'm just going to read from paragraphs 388 forward, where this everything is a contract theory is discussed. Quote, an OPCA litigant may argue that he or she has no obligation unless the litigant has explicitly formed a contract for that obligation. In Canada, this argument has been frequently advanced, blah, blah. An interesting variation of this approach was made by Prisky, who at trial argued that he did not want any government services, then he ought not be obliged to pay income tax. In yet another variation of the everything as a contract concept, a person may attempt to sever all contractual relationships with the state. Success would presumably defeat all government authority. Sometimes OPCA litigants claim that their interaction with the court is a contract. OPCA litigants who adopt this scheme tend to identify practically any state document, even a driver's license or birth certificate, as a contract. They argue in effect that they do not wish to be in a contract with the state and should be able to engage in activities, for example, operation of a motor vehicle, without being state-bound to the state in that manner. These persons go to great length to scour away all contractual links, expecting that at some point the state's authority will evaporate. Now, to really go into the roots of why this everything is a contract theory is wrong, we need to go back to 1762 to a book by Jean-Jacques Rousseau called The Social Contract, or Principles of Political Rights. Now, this was basically a philosophical treatise discussing where government can derive legitimate authority from. Now, I'm just going to use the Oxford Dictionary definition of the term because it's accurate and it's simple. But essentially, the social contract that Rousseau was referring to is hypothetical. It's a philosophical model used to discuss philosophical and theoretical ideas. Quote, it is an implicit agreement among the members of society to cooperate for social benefits, for example, by sacrificing some individual freedom for state protection. Where sovereign citizens and Taj Tariq Bey, by extension, are screwing up is that they are taking the idea of a social contract or part of the social contract.
Islam family.
Yep, gotcha.
I mean, during the time, just within that, there's a lot that can just be spoken on as far as
Right.
dealing with contracts and do you want to begin, and then I can Cujo, you can speak regarding the issue after.
Okay. So the first thing that I would want everyone to understand is there's a difference between law and legalese. There's a huge difference there. Okay. One can speak law and then one can quote legalese that dispute it. That's not hard to do. We have to understand the historical facts that are present within the issue that we're speaking about. The legalese become adopted with the Act of 1871. Based on the coup d'etat of 1861. With this happening, you have the whole legalese of the government structure take place. When you go into certain aspects of law, you're going to see that everything that is being spoken about is valid. What makes it able to be confronted with legalese is the fact that those who are the de jure government have not yet completely stepped up. And so with this happening, you're going to see different things take place. Other parts that Moors are not sovereign citizens. So let's get past that. Okay. Any Moor that is trying to make you believe in that we're sovereign citizens, that's incorrect. Todd said sovereign capacity. We have to understand the difference of the words that are being used here. Okay, in your sovereign capacity, you're dealing with inalienable, unalienable, non-contractable rights. Okay, nations are sovereign. And a nation, a republic, deals with the protection of the people. Okay, with the Act of 1871, with the Republican form of government going bankrupt and being overthrown, you have the introduction at that point of all legalese. You can go back, he mentioned the issue with the driver's license contracts. If things aren't done based on contract, then you would not have the UCCs, which is their contract codes. You wouldn't have them. So that tells you right there. If things aren't based on permission, okay, because understanding that a contract is a permission. It's an agreement based on permission. Everything the Albion does is based on permission. Even within their legalese, it's based on permission. When the colonists came here, they got permission to set up corporations. All of your first states were corporations. They got permission. When there was disputes, then they got permission again from the Vatican with the Doctrine of Discovery. Those are contracts that you're bound to. With the creation of the ens legis, with the 14th and 15th Amendments, then you have another permission. It is well understood that the birth certificate, marriage license, all those are contracts. It's not really disputable, although you can quote legalese, but the Supreme Court has already spoke on it. So really what he's saying isn't worth the oxygen he used to say it. It's just really not worth it. I don't even really feel like it's worth the amount of time we're going to spend. The only reason we do these things is so that the people can get clarity. But the Albion that said it, everything he stated was legalese. You can't go into the Constitution. Even if you go into the Constitution, then you go into what is a liberty. What is a liberty? A liberty, one of the liberties is right of locomotion. What is locomotion? Then you go into the Constitution and it says those things can't be abridged. It's not difficult. However, you can, because of the overthrow of the Republic, cite legalese. And so I yield the floor, but you know, the legalese jargon, you're going to always be able to do that. And those things are going to be prevalent until we do what we have to do to take back and reestablish the Republican form of government. Because right now, the substitute bays are sitting in our seats. And we're the only ones who can actually reestablish it. No.
Brother Cujo?
And just to quickly go further, as soon as individuals are taking the position of whose legalese that Moors are wrong, teaching bad or whatever, they are democracy agents.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. As soon as you hear them talking, from a perspective, for example, out here, we don't go to the Supreme Court out here because there's no Supreme Court where we are in this jurisdiction. Like how, you know, certain cities would have Supreme Court of New York, all that stuff. There's no Supreme Court here. Tribunals and, you know what I mean, kangaroo courts. The kangaroo courts out here use Meads versus Meads, the same case that he's using, say that Moors are some sovereign citizen or whatever. We know that they're de facto, but they're using legalese to try to discredit Moors. If he's using the same legalese that the corporate jurisdictions here are using fence for the activity that Moors are doing, he works with those people.